What does it take to cause the narcissist to be the one to lose their mind for a change? Well, in today's video, I'm sharing 10 things empaths can do to make the narcissist be the one who finally loses control. You really don't want to miss this. So let's begin. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'm an empowerment life coach who focuses on codependency and recovery from narcissistic abuse, especially for empaths, scapegoats, and awakening light leaders. If you're new here, a very warm welcome to you. Please take a moment to say hello and introduce yourself in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. So let's talk about 10 things empaths can do that will absolutely drive a narcissist out of their mind. But first, a very important word of caution. What I'm about to share applies only to those of you who know you are not in danger of being harmed. You know you are safe, grounded, confident, and strong. This applies to those of you dealing with your everyday toxic person, also known as the destructive narcissist. This, the empathy-impaired emotional manipulator, who feels entitled to target and exploit others in different ways. This is the emotionally and psychologically abusive narcissist, whose behavior is damaging but who is not likely to become physically violent. These strategies are not for those of you dealing with high-spectrum or dangerous narcissists. If you are dealing with someone who may become violent or could harm you, or someone vulnerable, this content is not for you. Safety always comes first. Understood? Good. Now that we've cleared that up, let's get into it. One of the most powerful things you can do is let them know you're onto them. You don't have to say it out loud. In fact, it's better if you don't. Let your energy speak for you. Let your posture, your facial expression, and your calm confidence communicate that you see exactly who they are. When done correctly, you are silently telling them that you see through the mask. And when a narcissist realizes you can see through them, when they understand that you know what's behind the act, when they sense that you are aware of just how toxic, insecure, and deeply inadequate they really are, it shakes them to their core. When they know that you see how fragile their ego is, how weak their false self truly is, and how thin and fake their carefully constructed persona really is, along with all the false confidence and bravado, or in the case of the covert narcissist, the never-ending victim story that is full of nonsense, it's basically game over. That awareness alone is enough to drive a narcissist completely insane. Another incredibly effective thing is remaining completely non-reactive. If you truly want to drive a narcissist crazy, do not react. And by that I mean you refuse to acknowledge their attempts to provoke you, bait you, hook you, or pull an emotional response out of you. You refuse to engage, refuse to argue. You refuse to defend yourself. You simply do not take the bait. Narcissists survive on emotional intensity. They crave drama, chaos, and conflict because it makes them feel alive. They feed on your emotional reactions, which is why they work so hard to trigger you. In their distorted mind, your reaction proves that they matter, that they are powerful, important, and superior. They also desperately need a target, someone to project onto. And what are they projecting? Their buried guilt, shame, and self-hatred, their own toxic behavior, their destructive attitudes, and their relationship damage. When you refuse to engage, when you refuse to fight back, when their insults, criticisms, personal attacks, and full-blown projections are met with emotional flatness, a blank stare, or a calm poker face, their nonsense has nowhere to land. They get no emotional energy from you. No emotion and no energy means no narcissistic supply. And when their attacks don't land, you don't absorb their issues. They cannot unload the heavy emotional garbage they carry. And that burden belongs to them, not you. It was never yours to carry. If you absolutely must say something, keep it simple and calm. You can say, I understand, but you don't get to take your pain out on me anymore. And then say nothing else. Silence. This is not reacting. This is simply stating a boundary and delivering information. Narcissists need a chosen target, a human dumping ground, to offload their disowned shadow, the parts of themselves they refuse to acknowledge. When you refuse to react, when you refuse to step into the ring and wrestle with them in the mud, their shadow has nowhere to go. They don't get the relief of dumping it onto you. And this level of emotional control and self-mastery teaches them something they absolutely cannot tolerate. It shows them that they have no power over you. Nothing drives a narcissist more insane than realizing they are powerless. Powerless to control you, powerless to manipulate you, powerless to affect you in any meaningful way. Another thing that deeply unsettles narcissists is radical honesty. Very few things disturb a destructive narcissist more than the truth. Cold, clear facts, no sugarcoating, no emotional padding. I grew up surrounded by people like this. I dated several in my past, and I even worked with some in my former career. Looking back, the thing that bothered them most about me was my commitment to truth. I spoke my mind. I called things exactly as they were. They were perfectly fine saying whatever they wanted, but no one else was allowed to speak honestly. Here's something important to understand. Truth carries a vibrational frequency that is far more powerful than any lie. That's why truth always wins eventually. It may not happen instantly, but in the end, truth prevails. People who carry honesty in their energy are deeply unsettling to narcissists. Even when you don't say a word, they sense something about you that makes them uncomfortable. It's the presence of truth in your energy field. On some level, they feel it, and they don't like it because it threatens to expose them and the lies they live by. Narcissists are so accustomed to deception that genuine honesty feels foreign and threatening. When you stop telling them what they want to hear and start telling them what is actually true, especially when no one else has the courage to do so, they often retreat quickly. They disappear. And honestly, that's usually a blessing. Something as simple as true can be incredibly powerful. A mentor once told me the truth is always enough, and that's something worth remembering. Another powerful strategy is treating them with indifference. Indifference will drive a narcissist absolutely crazy. Narcissists feel entitled to treat others with disrespect, contempt, and cruelty for no real reason. But when the situation flips and the balance shifts, they are often completely shaken. They cannot understand what is happening. It becomes a clear example of rules for everyone else, but not for them, that familiar double standard they live by. They believe they can treat people like dirt stuck to the bottom of their shoe with no care, no respect, no empathy at all. But the very moment they realize that their presence has no meaning to you anymore, that you are fully neutral, detached, and unmoved by them, it sends them into a silent panic. When they see that you are totally indifferent to who they are, to what they say, or to whatever they believe they bring to the table, it deeply unsettles them. They cannot stand the idea that they are irrelevant to you. This lack of reaction hits them where it hurts the most, and it drives them completely insane. This leads directly into the next point, which is rejection. Do not be fooled by the false image they present to the world, the carefully crafted mask they wear every single day. Even though they hide it well, most narcissists carry a deep and overwhelming fear of rejection and abandonment. On the surface, they may appear confident, bold, and full of self-belief. They may seem like they have unshakable self-esteem, but this is almost always an act, nothing more than a performance. Beneath that loud confidence and false bravado sits a very fragile, insecure, and emotionally immature ego that constantly needs praise, validation, and reassurance just to survive. Very few things damage that fragile inner world as much as rejection. When you show a narcissist that their opinions mean nothing to you, that their words have no weight, and that their behavior has zero influence over your thoughts, feelings, or choices, it deeply wounds them. When their manipulation tactics, control games, power struggles, toxic gossip, loyalty tests, and emotional traps no longer work on you, something inside them collapses. When you clearly show that you are not impressed, not bothered, not affected, and not emotionally hooked in any way, they fully understand that they are being rejected. And that realization completely breaks their illusion of control. They do not know how to respond to it. They cannot process it. It leaves them confused, angry, and desperate. When you demonstrate that you truly do not care about the nonsense they bring into your life, that you are unaffected by their chaos and drama, they lose their sense of power. They are used to provoking reactions. They feed off emotional responses, whether positive or negative. When there is nothing there for them to feed on, they feel exposed and empty. That kind of rejection shakes them to their core and leaves them spiraling. Now take a moment to reflect and ask yourself if you are willing to stop reacting, stop engaging, and stop feeding this dynamic. Think about whether you are ready to turn the tables and permanently change how this game is played. The moment you step out of their emotional playground, everything changes. Another thing that deeply terrifies a destructive narcissist is exposure. The idea of being seen for who they truly are is one of their greatest fears. This is not as difficult as it might seem. Often, all it takes is calmly putting them on the spot in front of other people. This does require strength and courage, especially if you have spent a long time walking on eggshells around them. But if you are safe, grounded, and emotionally steady, this approach can be very powerful. Exposure does not mean yelling, arguing, or attacking them. It can be subtle and calm. For example, when they engage in toxic gossip, you can simply say something like, "That's not my concern," or "That sounds like something you should keep to yourself." Then you stop talking. You do not explain. You do not justify. You let silence do the work. In that moment, you have clearly highlighted their behavior without lowering yourself to their level. You can also expose their exaggerations, their lies, or their passive-aggressive behavior in a very simple way. If they roll their eyes or make a sarcastic comment, you might say calmly, "Did you just roll your eyes at me? Interesting." Then you say nothing else. No matter how they respond, you stay calm. You do not defend yourself. You do not argue. You may even smile slightly and remain quiet. This often causes them to unravel further as they reveal more of their true nature to everyone watching. Another effective approach is asking them a direct question in front of others that they cannot answer honestly without exposing themselves. This puts them in an uncomfortable position where their usual tricks no longer work. When done calmly and confidently, this method is extremely effective and often leaves them scrambling. Comparison is another major trigger for narcissists, especially when it does not work in their favor. No one struggles more with comparison than a narcissist. Their entire life feels like a non-stop competition where they must always win, always appear superior, and always come out on top. They often compete with coworkers, friends, siblings, and even their own children or relatives. This is especially true when someone has been labeled as the family scapegoat. They do this because their sense of self-worth is weak and unstable. They rely heavily on external validation such as appearance, status, power, money, possessions, titles, or social connections. Their value comes from how they compare themselves to others. As long as they believe they are winning, they feel okay. But the moment they feel inferior or less important, their ego starts to crack. When the comparison does not favor them, they struggle deeply. They may become defensive, jealous, aggressive, or dismissive. All it takes is for reality to quietly contradict the image they have of themselves. When that happens, their ego goes into full defense mode. They might try to downplay the situation, attack the person they see as a threat, or desperately try to boost their own image. Watching this unfold can be uncomfortable, but it also clearly reveals how fragile they truly are. Another powerful strategy is simply ignoring them. Give them no attention at all. No calls returned, no messages answered, no emails replied to, nothing. If possible, do not even read their messages. This is one of the fastest ways to starve a narcissist emotionally and mentally. Without attention, they begin to unravel. If full silence is not possible due to shared responsibilities, then emotional ignoring becomes the next best option. This means you do not take anything they say or do seriously. You respond with neutrality, indifference, or not at all. Their drama, threats, insults, and manipulation attempts receive no emotional reaction from you. You remain calm and unmoved. By doing this, you are silently showing them that their behavior no longer has power over you. You are no longer playing along. They can feel that shift, and it deeply frustrates them. When their grand stories, exaggerated achievements, and constant self-promotion no longer get a response, their ego takes a major hit. One of the most effective things you can do is to genuinely become happy. Real happiness drives a narcissist absolutely crazy. It's not fake happiness or showing off. This is true peace, contentment, and self-fulfillment. When you choose to focus on your own healing, growth, and well-being, everything changes. Happiness is a choice, even though it often requires effort and inner work, especially after emotional abuse. When you stop focusing on the narcissist and start pouring your energy into yourself, your life improves. You begin to feel stronger, calmer, and more grounded. As you build a life that feels good to you, the narcissist can sense that they no longer matter. When they see that you are thriving, productive, peaceful, and doing well without them, it deeply unsettles them. They know you are not curious about their life anymore. You are not watching them, chasing them, or trying to understand them. You are simply living your life. That level of indifference hurts them more than anger ever could. Finally, there is no contact. Establishing and maintaining no contact is the ultimate statement. It means you have fully walked away. There is no discussion, no negotiation, and no emotional connection left. It is complete detachment on every level. No attention, no energy, no care, no emotional supply. No contact does not make you cruel or heartless. It does not mean you lack compassion or empathy. It means you are choosing yourself. It means you value your peace, health, and happiness more than chaos and dysfunction. Walking away is not weakness. It is strength. It is wisdom. It is self-respect.